ready to begin CU Immigration here on WRFU LP Urbana 104.5 FM. I will be your host for this evening. My name is Mr. Garza, and I'm here to let you know that WRFU is an open forum for the Urbana-Champaign community. That views expressed are those of the speakers. I can't say that. Those of the. That are those of the. Views expressed are those of the speakers. That's really hard for me. And are not intended to represent WRFU, UCIMC, or the Urbana Socialist Forum. Why is somebody calling me? God, shut up. Or UPTV. Anyway, these views are our own. And by our, in this instance, I mean myself and my charming guests who will introduce themselves, I hope, right now.
My name is Erica Horton.
I'm Karen Cottrell.
And I'm Edwin Muller.
Welcome. I know what you're here for, or what you're here about. You guys are doing the urban planning thing, right? And you're doing the...
The community development workshop is the course.
Yes, yes. How is that going?
It's going great. It's been an interesting semester, but...
Are you almost finished?
Yep, we are. We'll be doing a presentation at Pizza M on Tuesday, May 12th at 3 o'clock p.m., where we'll be talking about our findings from talking with immigrant business owners throughout Urbana. So we each focused on a different area of the city, and our group focused on the North Cunningham Avenue area.
North Cunningham Avenue. Okay. That's out...
leading up to I-74.
Oh, so from University out north.
From University
okay.
north.
I gotcha. So there's a Mexican restaurant out there. I know this.
There's some grocery stores.
Grocery stores? Oh, yeah.
There's
yeah.
a couple different international grocery stores. There's a lot of auto businesses.
Yeah.
Some retail, some more restauants. Yeah. But
Are there a lot of immigrant-owned businesses out there?
yeah, there are a number of them.
Well, so far, I'm really learning a lot from talking to the various people in this class, because it seems like every group is telling me about all these businesses that I had no idea. It's not like I think I ever really thought about it. You know, I don't drive down the street going, I wonder if that's an immigrant. You know, some of them are kind of obvious when it's like a Vietnamese restaurant is probably not, you know, somebody from Ohio. You know, it's probably someone from Vietnam who came here and opened. But a lot of them are just, you know, just businesses, just regular kinds of things that you'd find anywhere. So it almost seems like most of the businesses around, at least in Urbana, are owned by immigrants. Is that saying too much, or?
Well, I don't know about most. Probably a good percentage.
Give me a guess.
Yeah, everyone that we talked to.
A quarter? A tenth?
Do you remember the percentage? What is the likelihood that a new business is opened by an immigrant business owner?
I know some of the studies say that immigrants are twice as likely to open a business than a native-born. But we didn't look at the percentage, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Breakdown for Champaign-Urbana, what's immigrant-owned versus...
I don't think that's been done.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't possible to come up with a concise list of all the businesses that were either immigrant-owned or non-immigrant owned. We don't have that kind of access. We don't have that kind of list. We just went into the area and started interviewing. We started with a contact person, someone that we knew of that was willing to speak with us. And from there, we branched out based on who he knew that would maybe like to speak with us. And then we kind of wandered around the area a little bit and just tried to talk to some people and see if anybody else knew of an immigrant-owned business in the area that would like to talk to us. And we tried not to inflict ourselves on anybody, but if somebody was willing to give us a few minutes, then...
So, in and amongst the questions you're asking, are you asking anything that would give you an idea of why immigrants start businesses? Is it because they're providing some service that they know from their home country that they can't find here, or because they see a need that's being unfulfilled, or just because they're new here and they don't know where to look for a job, so I might as well just start my own because I don't know how to become involved in the business community that's already existing. Are you getting at that kind of information, or is it something else?
I think that there were quite a range of reasons. There were quite a range of reasons.
Those are included.
Yeah,
The ones you
that
mentioned?
there was a niche that wasn't being addressed, or just that we did talk to someone who wanted to open a business, and they kind of looked at a number of different cities in Illinois and decided that Champaign-Urbana was had a stable economy, and it was probably a good place to start a business.
Oh, okay. So a lot of different reasons. Obviously, there would be going to be a lot of different reasons. Was curious about that because you said something about, immigrants are more likely to open their own business than, native people. So why would that be? What would be the reason for that? I guess there are lots of interesting questions that you could ask that would probably turn this into like too long of a interview to be comfortable. So you're trying to keep it sort of simple. Are you basing it just around what can the community do to help you, or what are they doing to hinder you, that kind of thing? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, both of those things. So we focused mainly on what the business owner's experience has been coming into Urbana, opening a business, and the processes that they went through for that, whether they had struggles, what went well, what didn't go so well, what they think could be improved on the city level. And we sort of compiled all that. So there were several groups of us all sort of going out into the community and asking these same sorts of questions of people. And as we would interview them, we would let the conversation sort of naturally flow where it would, and people would like to talk about lots of things about their business and about themselves, but we did have sort of a script that we would follow, which means that when it comes to compiling the information at the end, we all had, similar script to follow. So everybody answered these questions in a certain, at a certain time, and we could put all that information together.
So you're getting a certain basic set of information,
like a survey,
and then some other stuff too that's probably interesting, but it's more for your own purposes than for the presentation. So you've got this presentation coming up. Is it? Are you pretty set on what you're going to say? Do you have a, okay, we're going to really let them. I will not leave here until those people from the city know this, this, and this, or is it just like, here's the stuff, and we're going to turn it over and then we're done and we walk away? Or is there that kind of passion there, or are you just going through the motions? What is it?
I think for our class, we're definitely taking the time right now to prepare for that presentation, but I think the idea is to get different members in the city of Urbana to start thinking with these baby steps, the professor calls it, of what can be done to help out immigrant businesses and people who want to open a business here in Urbana. So some of the groups, or one of the groups in particular, are going to focus on maybe broad, long-range goals of what can be done to support these businesses. But our group specifically is going to be talking about what are those baby steps that the city, that different organizations within the city can do to just think of how we can help these businesses flourish or welcome them in the first place.
So this is, in a way, this is sort of practice for your future career as urban planners, in a sense. So you're less approaching this from the standpoint of an activist who's like on a crusade, and more from the standpoint of like, well, this is the kind of thing I'm going to be doing, and so this is the topic that I'm going to be working with, and I'm going to see what I can do with it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think that this is something that some people are interested in continuing pursuing in the future. Professor Harwood wants to this to be a first step in talking with the city and other economic development organizations to get this kind of out there. But some things that we think would be really important is more accessibility to information. A lot of people who are starting businesses aren't really exactly sure what to do, and any of those resources, as far as we could tell, and as far as what business owners told us, they're all in English. So if some things were in Spanish or French or Vietnamese, just as a start, maybe in Spanish, I think that would be a big help. But also just kind of where to start if you are wanting to open a business, and here's the things that you need to do.
That's interesting. That last week, on the show, we were talking, or actually just now, I was talking to somebody, and the information came up in that conversation as well. It's like that's like the number one problem that people have is like they don't know what their rights are. They don't know what they can do or can't do, or how the system works, or how any of that stuff. And it kind of strikes down the notion that gets presented a lot through the media about how people are coming here because they get free stuff or whatever. That's idea that a lot of people have is like, oh, the immigrants come here because they know we have like generous benefits and stuff. Well, they may have some vague notion that there are good benefits here, but they don't know any more about those than anything else, than the laws or any of that stuff. I mean, it's a pretty big gamble going somewhere. No matter how much you look it up online, it's still, from day one you're going to be going, I had no idea it was like this. I didn't know to expect that. Just traveling to another town on a vacation is always full of surprises. So I'm sure going to another country altogether and just pulling up stakes and going there and plopping yourself down is a big deal.
Only a couple of the business owners that we interviewed had experience in opening a business. Everyone else had not done this before. So not only are they coming here and not being able to speak English, not being able to understand the literature, and not knowing who to speak with, but they also don't know what it takes to open a business. So they don't understand all the licensure, they don't understand zoning, they don't, I wouldn't understand these things, and I live here. So they come here not knowing this community, not knowing who to speak with, and they start really from scratch.
That's pretty bold.
It is bold.
Wow. And are you getting a feel? I know this is probably outside of your survey stuff, but are you getting a feel for the type of personalities of the people that you're meeting? Is there a consistent sort of like, I can do anything type person or
No.
No?
They're all different. Every business owner is different. I don't think we've found like a consistent quality in any of them, other than they all work a lot. They work hard, they work long hours. They don't even think about what it takes to keep their business going. They just do it.
Wow. That's impressive.
It is impressive.
And that's one of the things that I think we as a show here, I'm pointing, the editorial we, not you, it's not your job. We, as the CU Immigration Forum or as the show, need to push, is that the right word? I don't know. Get out there more, is that the immigrants are people who are, by and large, very optimistic. If you're a pessimist, or you're not going to be like, oh, I'll just go to some other country and start over again, you wouldn't do that. You have to be at least optimistic or hopeful, or have some sense of, purpose or destiny or whatever you want to call it. They're hardworking.
Right.
They're what's another word?
They're persistent.
Yeah, persistent.
They don't want to settle for what they have. They want to expand. They want to grow their business. They want to do better for themselves, do better for the community. They want to provide more.
Yeah.
They're not interested in just stopping where they are now. They want to expand and increase their customer base, or increase if they have a particular line that they carry, they want to increase that.
It's really interesting to me. You'd think by now, after years and years of doing this sort of immigration related stuff, I would be used to the difference between what I hear in the media and the kind of the general stereotype that you get and the reality, but it's still, over and over again, it impresses me what a huge difference there is, and I feel frustrated that I don't know how to get that across to people. How do you express to them that this is, you know, these are people you want here. They're not people you want to go away or to lock out or to, you know.
And these are the people that you don't hear a lot out of. So as far as, you know, Chamber of Commerce or any business associations, you don't hear a lot of rumble from them because they aren't there. They're at work.
Yeah.
They're busy keeping their business going. So there's not a lot of, you know, outside interest going on. There's not a lot of getting involved in other business associations and mingling with other business owners. They don't have time.
So the luxury of getting into working your way into the system is not really there for a lot of these people.
Right.
They have to just work to keep things going.
Right.
You know.
I think it's also just not even on a lot of people's radar. Like the Chamber of Commerce or business associations, or that there are assistance programs or anything that the city would be able to provide. I think that a lot of people that we talk to and that other groups talk to are used to doing things on their own, and they are not they're not expecting any help from anyone, and they, you know, might not even know that it's available, or might not even know that there is an Urbana Business Association. I think a lot of the business owners weren't aware of that, or they'd never been contacted by any of those groups. So they're not going to go out and seek those sort of relationships out, those memberships. I think it would be a good idea for some of the economic development organizations to make that effort, do that outreach.
Yeah. I really hope that somehow in the midst of your presentation you can kind of find a way to get this point across about this, because I think there's a lot of just misinformation, as I was mentioning earlier, but just a lot of like lack of curiosity that people have. You know, they've got their own life, they've got their own system, they were born here, you know, they go through, they're very, you know, tunnel vision as to what they're trying to do and who's doing what, and they, you know, you can tell from reading the local newspaper, they talk to the same people over and over again. They report about the same issues over and over again. It's all a very closed circle, you know, and there's a lot going on outside of that. And it would be nice if the people at the city were aware of that somehow, like made to be aware. And I don't know if you can do it from this.
And here we are.
Yeah, well, anybody from the city listening to this? Probably not. They're all at their Chamber of Commerce meeting, sipping cocktails or do whatever they do.
Whatever they do there.
I don't even know. I don't know what that is. We're approaching the end of our half hour. We're not there yet, but if there's anything that you really wanted to say, this is a good time to bring it up so we can talk about it, because
all looking at the guy who hasn't said much.
Yeah, okay.
No, I think the class is really establishing sort of an interesting opportunity for the city where, if you think about the immigrant and the immigrant businesses that are here, it's people who come from a place of maybe a tough situation back in their country, and when they come here, the behavior, the way they carry themselves is almost self-sufficient and very optimist about their situation. And I think when someone is entrepreneurial in their spirit, it's very tough to get that loner to be then part of a greater network. And I think our class is trying to see where that gap can be bridged, where it can be closed between these formal institutions of economic development organizations or the city and these single actors, because it's hard to get them all together. And I know in one of the interviews we had, we asked them basically, you know, do you know of other businesses in the area and do you network with them? Yeah, I know of them, but like she said, I'm here working, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think what I did want to get off my chest is that the class has that interesting take of like, what's that small little section in the sector in the problem that we can address? Yeah, and making a better network, I think, a better two-way street line of communication between the immigrant and the formal institutions that are in the city.
Well, as future urban planners, I take it that you're all heading in a certain career direction here, right? Or are there differences in where you envision yourself ending up when you finally get that degree and you're like ready to start out? Are you going to be like working with the city? Are you going to be on your own? Or how does that work? I mean, what are you going to do?
I think we all in our group have different interests.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. She's an anthropologist.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to put her up.
Another anthro. Oh, my gosh. Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Social-cultural anthropology.
Uh-huh.
So that's just about people groups.
Right.
We're better to study people groups than in a city, right? So that's what brought me into urban
Yeah.
planning.
I suppose. That's interesting. Okay.
I'm interested in neighborhood organizing, bottom-up community development,
Uh-huh.
sort of grassroots groups. I'm the one in this group that's not graduating, so.
Ever?
I think well, not right.
Oh.
That's not graduating in a few
Professional
weeks.
student.
I have
So,
never graduated.
No, I will hopefully be graduating, but just
Someday.
a year from now.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I have a similar track, which is I tend to like the grassroots development, but someone told me probably in the last year, one of my professors says, you have to learn the game to play the game so then you can beat the game.
Yeah.
And that's my take with urban planning, is that I'm trying to equip myself with the knowledge base and the skill set to then go beat the game for the people that are marginalized. And from my Hispanic background, that's the Hispanic immigrant.
Yeah.
And so I would love to get back to where I'm from, which is South Florida, and be a loud voice for the Hispanic community.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
But you can't avoid the game. You got to play it.
Well, you have
And
to
many
understand
times, grassroots organizations avoid the game.
Yes, I have this kind of conversation with a lot of people because I'm involved in a number of different groups and things that do social work or work with people about things. And it is interesting because there are a lot of people who really, like you say, they just have this mindset. It's like the system is broken, so screw that. I'm going to go it my own way. You know, I have a lot of anarchist friends who have this sense of like, you know, destroy everything, you know, be anti all this stuff, and we'll, you know, and it's like, okay, that's fine in your thinking. Up here, that's fine. You know, if in terms of imagining and strategizing and thinking about how things could be or should be, yeah, throw out the rules and think about what could be. But when you're trying to actually do it, there's this huge inertia of how things have been done forever and ever and ever. That's just, it's like an ocean liner. You know, you can't just turn it. It's going to go like that, and then maybe like about 10 miles, you're starting to see it turn, and then that's how things change, slowly. And if you don't realize that, you're going to be really burned out really quickly, I think, because you're just battering your head against the wall, and you may be affecting it. You may be affecting change, but you're not going to see it right away, or maybe not even in your lifetime. You know, you have to be willing to just feel like, I'm pushing it, and I feel it. I can feel it moving a little bit, you know, and that's probably the best you can do because you're one tiny person. And then when we all work together, then maybe we can do a little more. But even so, we're not going to change anything right away. So the way things are now, it's pretty much going to be the way things are going to be 10 years from now, unless there's some big change that, you know, because the big changes, the quick changes, don't come usually from individual people. They come from strange things that nobody can predict. It's like all of a sudden everybody kind of goes, oh yeah, and let's go that way. You know, it's like herd animals. You know, they're running along and all of a sudden they turn. It's not, nobody said, let's go that way. It's just like a sort of almost a group instinct. I was reading about the change in public perception on gay marriage recently, and it was interesting. It's like just a few years ago, like no one would touch this issue. You know, there were activists, and everybody else was like, no, we can't go there. You know, and public opinion was like, oh, are you crazy? That's weird. And then all of a sudden it just kind of went like that. And sure, there were a lot of people pushing for a long time, but it was something else. It was just something that you can't put your finger on that made that difference, you know. I'm sorry, I'm lecturing you, aren't I? I apologize. That's what it comes from, having your own radio show. You can just say, all right, I'm turning your microphones off and I'm going to talk. No, anyway, but I'm actually agreeing with you, as I'm just doing it in a very roundabout, wordy way. You just have to you have to learn how things work in order to affect the way things work, I guess. So yes.
Yeah, and I think that's a big reason why I came to school for urban planning too. What I like to think of myself as an infiltrator.
Ah, yeah.
There you go.
I like that.
She likes to fly under the radar.
Yeah, and you were going to do an interpretive dance here? Is that right? Because we have time. We'll go end the radio show, which ends in like a minute here, but we can keep the TV show going. You can do your dance. I'll move this stuff off here, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys coming. Thank you so much. This has been CU Immigration here on WRFU LP and UPTV. We hope you'll join us again sometime, someday, like next week or next time, and we will talk about something else. Oops. I can never get this right. Okay. I'm going to try this again. So thank you for listening. We'll talk to you later. Do it. Come on, play, please. You're not playing. Oh my God. Okay, bye.